what I think will be a defining moment in US history. The first black woman will be sworn in as vice president. Kamala Harris will, I think, represent millions of Americans who have up until now felt that real political power could only be exercised by politicians who are white men. One of the defining experiences of Kamala Harris's life was that, as a young girl, she was someone who benefited from what the Americans call busing. Children in poorer areas, usually black, taken every day by bus to richer, whiter areas to go to school there. Someone who sat next to her on so many of these journeys was her friend, Carole Porter. Carole joins us now. Carole, good morning to you in the United States. What a story to have stayed with this girl, to have grown up with her. Today, you're going to watch her become the Vice President of the United States.
I have Kleenex on standby because it's just so emotional for me. Kamala and I grew up in West Berkeley, California, which was Berkeley, as a lot of people know around the world, was one of the hotbeds of activism in America in the 1960s and 70s. And Kamala and I were part of the second class to desegregate Berkeley public schools in California. We took the bus together from our red-lined West Berkeley neighborhood. Redlining was a practice that was done in many neighborhoods across America to prevent people of color, Black people, immigrants from moving into a particular neighborhood. So in Berkeley, California, West Berkeley and South Berkeley were those redlined areas. And we lived in West Berkeley and took the school bus together from West Berkeley. About 40 minutes it took us, stopping at all the bus stops up to the Berkeley Hills, which was a much more wealthy area in the city of Berkeley.
It's quite a story. I mean, for some people who become important leaders in later life, some of them grow up having a presence, a confidence about them. Some of them gain that later in life. What was Kamala Harris, listen to me. What was Senator Harris, the Vice President-elect, like as a young girl?
Senator Harris, Madam Vice President-elect now, was always very confident. I met her in first grade. So that was about 1970. We were standing in line at the bus stop at the corner of Browning and Bancroft, which is we lived around the corner from each other. Kamala always had a presence about her, a confidence about her, not in any way that was negative. It was just, she knew where her next footstep was going to go. She knew where she was going. She was on her way to school. If teachers were speaking to her, she was listening in class. She was very engaging with her friends. She was fun. She was a child, but she did have a confidence, I recall, about herself. And I remember, as I've said in many interviews, Kamala was always a very good listener. If people were talking, if there was a story going on, if she was in a classroom setting, she was there to learn, and she was there for a purpose. And, as an adult processing that now, I can speak about it that way. But that's just, that's who she was as a kid that I can recall, that I remember.
No one gets into a position like the position she's getting into without having, absolutely massive raw intelligence. I mean, she must have been one of the brainy kids in the class.
You know what? I don't necessarily remember that. I mean, she was a good student, definitely a good student. But as growing up as children, I never thought like, oh my God, Kamala's so smart. I really thought more about, Kamala. She had a very warm, nice spirit about her. Shamala, her mom, was very integral in her and Maya's lives. She really raised them to be servants, to be people who gave back and people who, made a difference in their community and their neighborhood. That was a very intentional upbringing she had. So I do believe Kamala is clearly very intelligent, and but I think she's also very socially and emotionally intelligent and aware, and really carries a natural servant leadership about her that, not only uplifts herself, but it uplifts everyone around her. And growing up, I also recall her mentoring, other kids. Mrs. Shelton, as she talks about very poignantly and very often, was a really important person in our neighborhood. She ran a daycare around the corner, and it was really a hub for kids to gather And she had a foster child, Sandy, who Kamala mentored and really helped fit in and took under her wing. So that's kind of how that's just her natural sensibility. And if you've seen her with children on the campaign trail, she's very drawn. I got to see that when I was in Iowa with her. She's very drawn to children. So that's a natural spirit she has.
Carole, I mean, the story that you tell of the community that you and her were growing up in and then coming to school in a richer area, it has just the most incredible resonance with the lived experience of so many people in our country in South Africa. So many people will live in what we still call a township area and will be going to what are often known as sort of formerly whites only or Model C schools in the suburbs. So the story has incredible resonance. And in many ways, it can be an empowering experience for children to get the best possible education. This is often the aim of the parents. It can also be an incredibly traumatic experience. And I think for many people, it's really both. I mean, how did Vice President-elect Harris deal with it? I mean, clearly she has been able to take the most of it. But at the same time, busing in the United States was very controversial, and there were many opponents to it.
Fortunately, we lived in Berkeley. Berkeley has always been unique in a lot of ways. Madam VP-elect Kamala Harris and I were part of a busing program that bused two ways. So we had kids from the flatlands where we grew up busing up to the Berkeley Hills, but it was also reverse in that they had the kids from the Berkeley Hills busing down to the flatlands. And this was a program, an experiment, if you will, that Berkeley chose to embark on. At that time in 71, and I believe through 79, we had the first Black mayor of Berkeley, Mayor Warren Widener, who lived a few houses from Kamala and I. So we had a very strong, cohesive, diverse, economically diverse, culturally diverse neighborhood that embraced us, supported us, lifted us up. And when we got to Thousand Oaks School in the Berkeley Hills, the school was ready to receive us. We had an integrated and culturally diverse administration. We had Black teachers, we had Black vice principal, eventually principal. So we had a place that welcomed us. I'm not saying it was perfect, and everyone probably had different experiences. I know from my experience and what Kamala has shared is that she had a really good experience. I did as well. We went to school with children of professors who were teaching at UC Berkeley. So we got to meet kids from other countries. It was, for me, a positive thing, but I think with any school environment, you're gonna have challenges. But from a racial perspective or anything like that, I don't readily, specifically recall a lot of that being a problem for myself. I've not heard Kamala talk about that. Kamala and I are both interracial. Kamala is Indian and Jamaican. My mother is French German. My father is Black. So, we also had that layer of, being multiracial as well. So from all remembrances, I enjoyed going to school every day. We went to school every day, like Kamala said, from first grade through third grade at Thousand Oaks. And then we, went on to school together for another year after that at another school in Berkeley. So it was positive and it was enriching. And I believe it added a lot of value to my life. And I believe the senator, now Madam VP-elect Kamala Harris, believes that it had some, part in helping her become who she is.
We all grow through life. We have different experiences, different things happen around us. Do you still recognize that girl you met at the bus stop who lived around the corner from you?
Absolutely. I really do. I see her through and through. I see her empathy. I see her kindness. I see her strength. I see her resolution. I see her being strong. She's always been strong and confident, and I see that there. And she's walking in to brand new spaces where we've not been before, with confidence and with a sense of, I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to help other people. I'm here to uplift America. She's there to provide a service, to be a servant. And you can see that in her and in the way that she speaks, in her speeches, and in the way that she interacts with people. It shines right through.
I mean, for women,
Her mother shines, Shamala shines through so strongly.
I mean, for billions of women around the world, this is really an important moment. Is this a burden that she carries, do you think? Is she aware of how important this is?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She understands the importance of this opportunity in this moment. This is something Kamala has worked so hard to do, and she's really worked with the sensibility and the drive to help other people. That's really what she wants to do. And to uplift women of color and young girls of color, to show them that if they persevere and they do the hard work, which is how her mother and what her mother taught her, that you can go beyond the sky. You can reach for your dreams. They're not far away. You've got to do the work, though, to get there.
Well, Carole Porter, thank you very much indeed. I imagine, as you say, you're going to have the Kleenex handy. It's going to be a very important moment for you. I wish you strength for it. I hope you get to enjoy it as well. I think it's going to be a really important moment for you, for so many other people, about what's happening in the United States today as you watch your friend become the Vice President of the United States.